up a cocktail, crack a bottle of wine. We're swinging with the stars without standing in line. Fishing with the divas, hanging with the hunks. Every time they hit the stage, they're all slam dunks. Sparkling conversation, inside information, a bona fide Broadway backstage education. Break out the bubbly, it's time for toast with your lovable, laughable, affable host. So hold on tight, we're hot to go on the Broadway Cast Reunion Show.
Are you waving through a window?
I was waving through a window. I was
trying to figure out what you were going to come up with. You told me you had something, but I didn't know.
It was either going to be a full cast or I was going to wave through a window.
And you did it.
That was just easier. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the cast reunion of Dear Evan Hansen.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited because, number one, I love the show. I've seen it 3 times. And I've seen all of these people in the show, because I saw it on Broadway and on tour. And anyway, I remember the first time I saw it, I have a friend in New York. She was a new friend. I met her at a spa retreat thing in Mexico. And I was coming to New York and I texted her to say I was going to be in the city. Let's grab coffee. And she said, "What are you doing on Wednesday night?" You know, which I never like to answer when someone asks, "What are you doing on a specific night?" until I know what they're going to offer, because it could be like to join them for like a prayer meeting or something, you know? And it was to go see Dear Evan Hansen at Second Stages before pre-Broadway. I know. And I just remember leaving that show and calling home, and I was like, oh my God, I think I just saw something literally life-changing. I was so moved by it.
As a teacher in real life, when I don't get to hang out with these amazing people, I really moved me as an educator to see the story and see it's such a true story that goes on in so many schools. So it's an important show to a lot of theater fans out there. They all said hello to us before the show, and I know they're so excited to see this cast.
I love that we have a costume designer on this show because we have matching shirts.
Yes, we sure do. I could listen to Sincerely Me over and over again. I'm that theater nerd on the treadmill at the gym listening to it.
I just want to say I had ordered the Dear Evan Hansen logo white hoodie, which I was so excited about, and it never arrived. So
stolen. Hot merch.
It was
stolen right off your front door.
We had to change direction. You know, that's what you do.
Hashtag hot merch. Trending.
Wow.
That's it.
Our engineer is fast. I love that. I just want to give a couple of credits. Number one, Johnny Rogers for writing our incredible theme song, and The Muse Presents, and Jonathan Hawkins, who's our engineer and producer, for animating our theme song. It makes me so happy every time I hear it. And there you go.
Yes. Takes a village.
I know. Well, let's not waste any time because we have members of the current Broadway company and tour company of Dear Evan Hansen with us. But before they join us, I just want to show you a little montage of the show for like the one person out there that hasn't seen it.
Oh. Already.
Two friends, true friends, on a perfect day.
Hey!
Yeah.
Oh, so good. How are you all?
We're good.
Great.
Good. Now,
Doing
do you
good.
all know? Have you all worked together, or are some of you like meeting for the first time?
I think I've met everybody here in some capacity.
I work with everybody
I
here.
work with everybody too. Yeah.
Awesome.
You have moved so many people. There's been so many people that are watching right now all around the country, from performing arts centers everywhere. And we're so grateful to have you here. We're going to now spend a little bit of time with the tour family, and we're going to have the Broadway folks come back in a little bit. So we'll see you all in a few minutes. So, hi, guys.
Here we are. Hey.
Hey, what's going on? Are they frozen?
So you know
Are they
what?
here?
I think they're here.
They're here.
But
We
they
might
might
give them a minute.
Well, although we've already done the Frozen cast reunion. So
Jeez.
but Noah, I think, I could be wrong, but I think I saw you because you were on the national tour and you were covering the role of Evan.
That's right.
And I think I saw your first performance at the Amundsen Theater.
That's wild. That's really crazy because like that was I went on one time in LA, so that's just crazy happenstance. That's wild.
I was there because my buddy Aaron Lazar was on tour with you, and I remember, or I didn't know that was your first time, but he told me when I went backstage after. You were amazing. I mean,
oh shuck, thanks.
for a first performance, unbelievable.
It was a blast.
Well,
it was the coolest day ever.
What is it like to be able to travel around the country and meet all these crazy fansins that love this show, and to be able to do this show for musical theater audiences everywhere?
Do you want me to start? Who wants to start?
Sure.
Sure. I'll start. I mean, it's an enormous privilege. I think I speak for all of us and said it certainly changed my life, and we're all relatively, in terms of a show of this size and a show that has the kind of substance that this does, and in terms of the impact that it has had, I think it was a really just very valuable and beautiful experience on all fronts to be able to go to the stage door every day and see how much it meant to people. It was stunning experience. Yeah. What about you guys?
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Agreed.
some
They don't agree. They don't.
jobs. Sometimes a job is paycheck, or sometimes a job is fulfilling, or sometimes a job is really fun because you like the people, and it's very, very rare that you get a job that like everything kind of comes together, where you're doing this amazing piece that is so special, and like we kind of became best friends very quickly through the process of doing such like an intimate thing together. And the three of us started out as understudies the first year of the tour, so we were backstage every day rehearsing and running the show, and also not rehearsing and not running the show. And it was just incredibly special.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just
Now,
really beautiful, and I feel like sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, I think every time we have like every time we have a stage door experience, it like reminds us how important the work is that we do. Like we end up doing the show so many times, and we're wrapped up in like, oh, I'm on tour, like I'm away from everything and everyone, and then we have these moments at the stage door where we get really beautiful letters, or people will share their testimonies with us on how the show saved their life, and it's always like, oh my God, you're right, like this show is it, and it like reminds us and like fuels the energy of like every time we do You Will Be Found, it always kind of feels like, okay, this is the song, like we got to get this right, because this is the song that a lot of people come to hear, and we got to get this right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My favorite number. I love that, like how we all shared that number together, like how I was there every night and You Will Be Found. It was so great. That's the one song I'm not in.
Well, right. I was going to say, and for the people who are watching, because we have a dual audience, some of the people watching have never seen the show, and the show is coming to the Performing Arts Center. It is one of the most beautiful endings to a first act that you will ever see.
True.
That it ended, and I looked at my friend who I saw the show with and was like, wow, what a magical night of theater that you guys put on every single night.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So now, what city were you in when everything shut down?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were
Wow.
very shocked. We were all, there was like I'm trying to remember what we were, because we were under the impression it was sort of delayed because I think maybe Broadway or a couple of things had shut down already, and we were like, oh well, we won't shut down, we're fine, like it's all gonna be fine. And then it all, I think that night we were supposed to do the show, and then they called and they were like, you're not gonna do it, and we all flew home the next day. It was devastating. It was
Crazy. I know. I was in Florida at the very beginning of a 6-week concert tour, and we did one concert, and then the next day I checked my email. Email after email was cancellation. I was like, oh, I'm being canceled.
Oh no.
So I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen, I have a question. So you're starring in the tour and you're playing a somewhat younger character with no beard or anything, right? And so how is that? Has it been somewhat like refreshing to be? Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, what's special about it is that the character is kind of universal, you know what I mean? Like, these are things that I definitely went through in high school, but I also still, am carrying with me now. I'm working through. And so, yeah, I mean, it's great. The best thing that ever happened, well, never mind, I'm not going to tell that story.
Well, now you got to tell it.
No, that's the story they're waiting to hear.
I'll be saving against once we open back up. Don't worry.
That was such a tease.
It really was.
And how has it been for you have you all been in New York during this lockdown for the past year, and what have you been doing to stay connected and creative and all that?
I moved home for about, sorry, did you start speaking, Ciara? You go. I talked. Ciara?
You go.
No?
It's
all
like
yours,
delay.
Noah.
Thanks, guys. Okay, yeah, so here's everything. Oh, okay.
There's a delay. I'm sorry.
You go, Ciara. Ciara, you go.
Well, don't fight.
Okay.
No.
Steven and I are both from Florida. Yeah, you're right. Steven and I are both from Florida, and so we went home immediately. And I was in Florida up until February, so I literally just moved here, and Steven and I lived together. But up until that point, I was home, and so it's been really nice to be in New York and to cultivate a life here without the hustle and bustle and the craziness. It feels very nice to just exist here and enjoy it. And we've had really beautiful weather, so that, out of seasonal depression and out of the pandemic, the 1 year has been really, really nice to be like, oh my God, we're here. We made it in one piece. And we just saw Noah the other day in Central Park. So it definitely has been our saving grace to be able to be out and enjoying ourselves.
And life in New York can be so hard, but so amazing. I love this city. But I will say, when we're here and the industry is open, there can be this really kind of addicting feeling of climbing and you're never really satisfied, and you're always looking for the next job because you never know when you're going to need it. And I will say there's been something really freeing about frustrating and difficult, but separating yourself and your value from the industry and learning how to just be present this year has been really hard. And I think ultimately really good. I think this space is going to make the work a lot better. Just figuring out how to be happy. What do I need every day? I need to talk to my friends. I need good food and some exercise and some fresh air. And that's about it. And I think that kind of simplicity has been huge.
Yeah.
Well, I
and
think
have you
that.
I'm sorry.
No, go. I think that
I
that's
was going to
so.
say, have you thought, when you go to sleep at night or whatever, now that we're a year into this and vaccines are rolling out and whatnot, and so, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, do you think about what that first night back is going to feel like, whenever it is?
Well, Noah and I were just talking about this. Like, now we have thoughts where we cannot believe we were doing this show every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
feel
wow.
real. Like, our life now is like, okay, let me wake up and like, see what I'm supposed to do. But there was a time in which we revolved our entire lives around this show and traveled the
Right.
country performing the show, and like, we don't even know what that feels like anymore. You know, like, so it's gonna be wild.
I think
sure.
it's gonna be magical. It's gonna be absolutely magical.
Of course.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead.
How long of a process do you think it'll be, Noah, to rehearse the show to put it on its feet again?
I think that's probably up to the directors and the team. They're gonna probably assess, where we're at, what our endurance is like these days, and then maybe decide. It's probably gonna be more like maybe like a month or something, I'd imagine. I don't know. But I think when we were rehearsing for year 2, when we got our new cast for the second year, we think we only did like 2 weeks, and like Steven wasn't even there for a lot of it because he had to go on a couple times, like do a couple performances when we were at the Kennedy Center. And so I think it'll actually be really refreshing after already having performed together and having had this time to like work on ourselves and coming back and actually getting the rehearsal time that we all desire to like get I think it's gonna be fire, straight flames, guys. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely. I know that there are so many people waiting, and thank you guys. We're so excited that you guys are here, and they will be back at the end of the show.
Yes.
We'll have
Don't go anywhere. Hang out backstage for a moment. We're going to
Right.
talk to the Broadway company for a little bit, and then we're bringing you back for the big finale. I hope
Can't
you've
wait.
rehearsed. I hope you've rehearsed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fireworks, dance for Chino. That's it. Well,
Wow.
I think this next guest is no stranger to anybody. I think
No.
we all have,
No.
we
He
all
is the
know and
current
love this guy.
Evan on Broadway. And we're so excited to have him on the show. Please welcome Jordan Fisher.
Hi. Hello.
Hey
Hey,
there.
Jordan.
How
Man,
are
this is
you?
great.
Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Are you kidding me? Thank you
Oh
for
my
having me.
God. We have so many questions for you. First of all, I just want
Yeah.
to say, just to get this out of the way, that you were so very generous in donating your artist fee for tonight to an incredible charity, United Friends of the Children. And when I got that message from the show publicist, I literally like had to take a moment, because when I first moved to LA like 30 years ago, I worked for Henry and Stacy Winkler as their personal assistant for like 7 years.
it.
And Stacy Winkler created United Friends of the Children
It's
at the
amazing.
very beginning. And so
It's
the fact
amazing.
that you are such an advocate for this incredible organization, which is the only 24-hour emergency shelter for abandoned, abused, and neglected kids in LA, is incredible. It just brought me so much joy. I spoke to the office today to arrange your donation, and we just like reminisced about like the beginnings of, anyway. So
Yeah, the lineage is amazing
thank you.
for sure. It's
Yeah.
an incredible organization, and I'm very grateful to be able to call them friends. I mean, the transitional period is so difficult. I mean, I think obviously, especially not I think, that goes without saying, especially right now. Can you imagine being a foster kid and being 17, turning 18 years old, nowhere to go, nothing but a garbage bag full of clothes, and no real direction, no real toolkit for life in terms of becoming an adult and doing that kind of thing. It's a daunting task, regardless of the time that we're in, regardless of the pandemic. And they're doing a beautiful job, and I love everybody there. But
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
it
sure
was
it's
very
changed over the years. I mean, I don't know what their programs are now, but I remember back in the day, they used to have this event called Celebrity Day. And Henry and Stacy would host on their front lawn a brunch for all these famous celebrities,
Amazing.
Sylvester Stallone and everything. And then they would
That's awesome.
bust them out to El Monte, to the shelter, and they would have like this huge carnival, and these foster kids would be spending the day with like all of these celebrities. It was incredible.
yeah, it's
Jordan,
incredible.
you have had quite the quarantine. We've seen you on Disney. We've seen you doing live songs with Michael Orland on Instagram and everywhere.
Oh, I love Michael so much.
But
We love
and
Michael.
you have been singing and working. But I have to ask you about your experience with Dear Evan Hansen after a little show called Hamilton that you were a part of. What about Dear Evan Hansen? What about the show brought you back to Broadway? What specifically about the role made you come back?
As somebody that has a fantastic relationship with anxiety and depression, I think you can go a step further as a person of color. Phoebe can actually attest to this. I'm sure she's backstage nodding fiercely at what I'm about to say, but you know, in the Black community, you don't talk about that kind of, you just don't. It's not mental health isn't a thing that's necessarily spoken about, you know. And I grew up in the South. That's a whole other thing, you know, growing up in the Bible Belt, Birmingham, Alabama. You know, if you went to therapy, it's because something was remarkably wrong, and you're just, you know, surrounded by a lot of people giving you smiles, but quietly being like, I wonder what the problem. You know what I mean? It's just it's a thing that you know, thankfully in 2021 is becoming you know, it's becoming so normalized. Just talking about it, just conversing about it, you know, as if we're talking about what we had for lunch that day, I think is a very important step to take. And you know, art is made at the end of the day to help people remember that they're not alone in their feelings, right? If it's a breakup song that you hear, that's, you know, the artist that's singing it is either handling it the exact same way that you did, you can kind of take a breath of fresh air, or maybe as the victim of something that has happened, you can go, okay, I'm not the only one that's ever done that. You know, people have been around for a minute, but to have art, to have a piece of work that's on stage where you can go and sit down for 2.5 hours and experience firsthand, you know, what this kid is going through, what Evan is dealing with, and all of the, you know, very complicated, you know, maneuvering that he, you know, tries to manage with his family and with his mom, with his friends, quote unquote. You know, it's all a very challenging thing, but that is why you make art. That right there is there. I'll never forget being, funny enough, I think it was it 3 years to the day, 2 years to the day, I think 3 years to the day that when I saw Ben play this role on this stage. Now, mind you, I was working in Hamilton at the time. It was the peak of popularity. There was still half of the original cast involved. I had just stepped in and took over for Anthony Ramos as he started working on his series. And I heard this single that was dropped by these two composers that I've been following since high school, you know, just like underground musical theater nerd scene as we do. And we're obsessed with these guys. They dropped Waving Through a Window. I had no clue what was going on, but I knew I freaking loved it. By the time I'd gotten to the theater, I was wailing, right? And I'm a baritenor, and I did not have that range at that point. I had to really, really work at that. But you know, got to the theater, and at that point was obsessed with the show. Had only heard one song, didn't need to know anything else. I felt good. I felt something. I felt multiple things, but I think the good is kind of the overlying emotion there. And who was Vanessa Hudgens? We had just done Grease live. She had actually come up to New York to do some press for something. She came to see Hamilton, and then I played hooky and went. No, I didn't actually. I didn't play hooky. I didn't play hooky. It was Broadway Con Day. And for whatever reason, they had a Sunday evening show. So I did the matinee, grabbed a bite to eat, ran over to the Music Box Theater around the corner from the Richard Rodgers, and had no clue what I was walking into. She had to console me. It was rough, but man, it stuck with me. And I posted this whole thing. And the only reason why I remember that it was to the day that I debuted was because somebody like brought it back up in the Twitterverse. They went back and saw my like 9-tweet breakdown of the show, what I experienced, how incredible it was. Well, everybody needs to go see it, and became a massive fan of the show. Saw it like 4 times between then and when I actually took over for Andrew. But yeah, that was, I mean, it just stuck with me as you know, the timeless great shows like this do. You leave the theater feeling human, but in the best way. Absolutely. You know?
Wow. What was it like for you? I mean, you spent a lot of time in your career on TV and movies and whatnot, and Dancing with the Stars, of course. But then to, like, when you went into Hamilton, doing 8 shows a week, that is an athleticism that, you know, is doesn't come easy. Right. What was that transition like for you?
It was returning home. Honestly, I grew up in a theater conservatory. It's actually where I met my wife. We were 9 and 13. We were best friends growing up, reconnected as adults. Actually, when I was working on Hamilton, we fell in love. But we came from this incredible theater conservatory called Red Mountain Theater Company in Birmingham, Alabama. Lots of alumni on Broadway, on national tours, and television. As a matter of fact, you've heard of like the Bridgerton musical that's being made?
Yes.
Abigail Barlow. I've known since she was 4 years old. She's family. She grew up in the same theater conservatory. Demarius Copes, Nick Rashad Burroughs. Like we all grew up in the same little town at the same theater conservatory ran by Keith Cromwell. And that was all of our training. We didn't do 8 shows a week, but we did. Sometimes we did. As a matter of fact, sometimes we did do 8 a week, but we did 6. That's returning home. Broadway's home for me. Right.
Wow.
So it wasn't going to take very much for me to want to return to Broadway. That is a constant for me. I always want to be on Broadway. I just so happen to have a bunch of other things that I'm doing in my life and developing and producing and whatnot. But if I had it my way, I would just do Broadway.
I get it.
It's just all the time.
Well,
amazing.
You brought her up. We can't stop and just without saying congratulations. Your pictures are beautiful.
Yes.
Congratulations on your wedding.
That.
You two are absolutely beautiful. Lots of love and luck to you both.
That means a lot. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think we have some moms here.
We do. We have two moms. We have 2 moms. Christiane Noll.
Hey.
Oh my God, I'm not married. I miss you guys
so much.
Miss you guys.
This is so good. I know we're supposed to look at the camera, but I can't right now.
I know.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sorry.
I just have to take this in for a second. Oh.
Do it.
Oh man. I miss you both. Hi, I love you.
I miss you guys so much. This is great. I started crying like from the moment that the montage began.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Jessica, where are you quarantining?
Well, right now I'm in LA. I'm shooting a series here for CBS.
Heck yeah.
So I've been here since October. So I was able to bypass the New York winter, which was great. But the first half of the year I was quarantined upstate New York. We have friends who have a farm up there, and they said, go get out of the city. And thankfully we were able to do that. So that was fantastic.
Oh, great. And Christiane, are you back on the East Coast?
I am. I'm out in Jersey, out in my attic right now. Yes.
She's a Bergen County girl. Like I'm a Bergen County guy.
Yes.
So I feel that.
I got to see you both.
Jess, you froze. Were you about to say something? I just froze. I think as she was about to say something. I'm not sure. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I was in my back. I was going to say that Jordan and I are here together, and we haven't been able to see each other.
No, we haven't
been able to see you. I know.
Well, you both are so busy. That's okay. That's why we did this, so you guys can
change
this.
that.
I know. Well, I got to see Jessica and Christiane in LA at the Amundsen on the tour of Evan Hansen, and it was so spectacular. It's so spectacular. I mean, after seeing the Broadway production twice, and I went to see the production at the Amundsen because my dear friend Aaron Lazar was on tour with you, and it was fantastic. And when you see a show like this, and each time it takes on another sort of level depending on who's in it, and another level of meaning. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same story, but because of the actors involved, it touches slightly different nerves. And oh my God, I just sobbed. It's so good.
I think it's a testament to the material, to how good the material is, how well it's constructed, because you know, the Broadway company the original Broadway company was so spectacular. And I think it was probably a little intimidating for those of us who were putting the first national tour together. We had very big shoes to fill, but we got in the room and the creative team was so amazing because they just let us make it ours as a company. We were able to find it. We were able to find relationships with each other. We were able to, kind of, have it fit in our own skin. And we did that together in the rehearsal process, in mounting the tour. And that just, we were able to watch the material kind of support us in that. And by the time we got out on the road, we thought, okay, this is ours. We've made it ours. And I think it's really good. I think it's good in a different way. And we were excited to take it on the road.
Well, one of the big questions I have about the show is when I watched it, the intimacy of the story between the characters and the intimacy that Evan has with his mother and with Connor's family and the whole experience. That's a real intimate connection between you guys on stage. How are you guys able to get into that headspace to act and emote those feelings when the front row is, 5 feet away from you? How do you block that all around?
I mean, that's part of the brilliance of this piece and how it's written. But I as a mom on the road and then working 8 shows a week, you feel like I'm a terrible mother because I'm not at home. So that put me, in a perfect position to just kind of be there. And I remember when George started rehearsing the first time that we did the scene at the dinner table where I'm just sort of like going like right in his face. He's like, "Oh, here we go. Okay."
It was wonderful.
Which is, but it's watching that, what Jessica was saying earlier, watching that montage. I was doing all the things that I would do backstage during, Sincerely Me, and doing all the dancing and everything, and just getting so emotional and feeling like, gosh, when this goes back, I hate to say that I'm glad we got this time away, because that's not, I'm not, but I am, because I feel like what the people from the tour were saying, to have this time to sort of breathe and really be grateful for where we are and what we're experiencing, and then be able to look at this piece with fresh eyes again, rested, and go, oh my Lord, this is what an extraordinary thing to be a part of. And I am so excited for everybody to be able to go back and see what that energy is going to be like. I can't imagine.
Did you think about it when you started the tour? This is for Jessica and Christiane. Did you think that doing the tour would lead you to the Broadway company, or was that like not even in the thought process?
Jess, do you want to go first?
I mean, what I'll say is there are never any guarantees in anything in the arts. So obviously, it as Stephen was saying earlier, I just felt so honored to be able to breathe any life into this character. And I had such an amazing experience with my tour company, and it was so intimate and special, that, taking over in the Broadway show was a bonus. I mean, it certainly was something I was hopeful I was going to be able to do, but not counting on it. And if I had walked away before that happened, I would have, then felt just as proud of being a part of the piece. That said, I love being in New York, and I love working with Jordan. I'm so excited to have, to step forward into that, and I feel so honored to do that. Go ahead, Christiane. I won't interrupt you anymore.
No. I was going to agree with everything that you said. Before leaving on the road, and when the invitation to be part of the show came in the first place, it was reminded to me that you're going on the road for a year. That's it. And as an actor, it's really difficult to not get on the little treadmill and go, oh, but then can I, and then, but to be reminded, no, you get this amazing gift. Go and take advantage of this amazing gift. And I think we were in San Francisco when they started having conversations. Was that right, Jessica? No, Chicago. It was Chicago. We were in Chicago, and then there was like a oh, I get to go. Oh, and it was for Stacey Mindich to invite those of us back was just such a wonderful surprise, and a nice little cherry, that you just go, oh, okay, great, thank you. We get to go home. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, speaking of nice little cherries, I mean, this pandemic this year has been hard for everybody on so many levels. But I would imagine, knowing in such a time of uncertainty, that at the end, whenever the end is, that you have a company to come back to. And when theater in general is so uncertain always, but to be in such a blockbuster that you can confidently, feel like you have a place to go back to, must have brought a bit of comfort.
Well, here's the thing. Our industry is fickle. There is never a guarantee. You can go to bed with 3 wishes in the genie's lamp. The next morning you can, get it out and say, hey, can you guarantee me? Can you guarantee me? Can you guarantee me for all 3? And unfortunately, it's just not how our industry is shaped. However, with great optimism and with vaccinations, there is a world where a foundation could be built upon where, the handful of lucky shows that have been able to, keep their theater or whatever the case may be can return home. There are a lot of moving parts to all of it, right? And so, of course, you sit and hope that everything works out exactly the way that you fantasize it. I think especially after all of this time not being on stage, we're all yearning and fiending. I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like I know everybody on this call well enough to say we are all dying to be, in a very electric, unique environment every night at the Music Box Theater, and to be able to do this material and that takes such good care of us. This material. I mean, I know Jess touched on that a little while ago, but man, it takes such good care of us. It's medicine. It's medicine in that way, and we also know that we are able to serve as well. Of course, we're all dying for that, but unfortunately, there are no guarantees for anything. So we just sit and hope and wait and pray and look forward to being able to give each other hugs again in the near future.
What's nice for the fans of the show, though, at least every time that there has been any kind of conversation or communication with the producers, that there is incredible intention to this show will come back in all of its forms. And that's really gratifying and exciting, that it will continue. And I can't wait to see how.
Well, we have some more of your friends and castmates here.
Yay, bring them
Yay!
What's going on there? We got Phoebe, we got Gabby. Oh, baby, we got everybody up in here just having a good time, baby. Come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
How are you?
Hi, ladies.
Aww. So good to see you,
Gabby,
guys.
I'm so glad you made it.
I know.
You were shooting my favorite series of all time, Law and Order SVU. So I'm so excited.
Yay!
Or
That
not.
was I'm really excited.
That's so wonderful. And Phoebe, thank you so much for both of you being here. Everyone else talked a little bit about their journey to Dear Evan Hansen. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the privilege to be a part of such a beautiful show? Gabby.
Oh, I mean, my journey to Dear Evan Hansen was really, really long. I auditioned for the show 9 times
total. And I was told no every single time. And then finally, you know, they needed a vacation understudy, which is, you know, when one of the cast members takes a vacation, they need someone to be in the building and step in. And thankfully, I got to do that. And then, you know, I was hoping that they'd invite me back, and they did. And I was an understudy for a year. And then about a year into that, I got offered to play Zoe full time. And it's been just like the best. And I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed to see everyone right now. I'm sorry. I'm like flustered because I miss everything.
Can I add on to that story, Gabby? Can I add on to that story?
Yes.
You were living with my best friend.
Oh, yeah.
At the time.
So my first day of rehearsal,
Right.
I walked into my apartment when I moved in like 5 days earlier, and Jordan was just sitting on my couch. His best friend was my roommate at the time.
Oh, wow.
Look at us now.
Look at
Make out. You guys make out.
8 times a week. Well, no, 6 times a week.
And Phoebe, what about you? How was your journey to the show?
It was really crazy. And I remember finding out about the show because my mom was like, listen to the show. Like, it's definitely going to get popular. I was like driving on my way to ballet class, I remember. And so then when I was 16, I got an email to like a self-tape for the understudy. And I was like, ooh, fun. Like, I never get self-tapes. And I sent it in, they didn't think anything of it. And then a while later, I got a call back and then another call back, and it kept going. And then I was like, I'm never going to get it, though, because they're not going to have to want to go through all the permits for casting someone who's under 18. It's a nightmare. And then they cast me, and I was like, why?
No. When you got it, you got it. That's it.
It was totally crazy. I got to tour with my mom, which was never something I'd ever do. And I had my mom on tour with me until I turned 18. And then I got the Broadway offer and dropped my keys on my foot because I screamed and there was blood everywhere in my apartment in Chicago. And I feel like I still don't believe that it's happening. Like, it's been a year, I've had the time to process, but it still hasn't hit. But that's a thing I got to do.
Well,
Like, the most impactful thing you just said, Phoebe, was I had never had to make a self-tape before. Because now
That's all.
nobody can say that.
No.
So many of them now. Goodness. I think I have like 4 that I have to send in.
Our entire industry, of course, has moved onto the computer, and we all have we don't have Jordan's equipment, but we have
No,
to.
this is good.
We have to create little recording studios for ourselves.
I just play video games for a living. Come on.
That's it. Follow his Jordan Fisher video gaming Instagram page. We have a lot of we have the tour cast here. I think we maybe should just make it a big giant party and take some questions from our audience. So we're going to bring everybody on.
Hi, guys. Let's go good.
Yay.
So we wanted to say a big happy birthday in the house tonight.
Steven!
Steven! It was his birthday yesterday.
Yay!
Yay!
Happy birthday.
So happy birthday. And we have a ton of questions from people. Yes. We have a ton of questions from fans. There are a ton of Dear Evan Hansen fans tuning in right now. And they have been dying to ask you some questions. Go ahead, Lee.
There you go. Jessica and Christiane, we saw you opening night in Chicago, and it was truly electrifying. What are your favorite performances and songs to sing in Dear Evan Hansen? Jessica?
Oh, well, I think So Big, So Small can't be beat. So I do love to sing that when I'm able to phonate.
I get the best seat in the house too. It's the best. It's so good. It gets me every night.
It's real intimate. There's a lot of mucus and stuff. It's just we really get to know each other well.
It's really great. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love listening to Sincerely Me, from my dressing room. And I mean, I just kind of don't get tired of any of the songs in the show. I know that sounds dumb, but it's true. It's just every song is really beautifully done. And I love listening to Gabby sing. I love listening to Phoebe sing. I love singing with Christiane on stage. I mean, it's just,
You know what I loved? You know what I loved is that the first time I saw the show, of course, was the original cast, and I had never heard the score before. And when Rachel Bay Jones sang, you know, "So Big," so I mean, it's such a moment. And then when I saw you do it on tour, you're very different, and it was like an entirely different song. You know, it was as impactful. I was sobbing the whole time, of course, but it was, and I had never seen you before. I didn't know you before seeing that. And boy, I was like an instant fan. Just so gorgeous.
I mean, that's the thing though about live theater. And I think what makes this live theater and this show, all of them, so amazing. These words have to come out of our mouths. And these characters can take the forms of so many different people and so many different shapes and sizes and colors and permutations and everything. I mean, they can be all of it because we all exist in our foibles and our failures and our attempts to connect to each other. And so when, you know, Jessica sings, it's going to be coming from a woman who is also the mother of two boys, you know, who's had that experience in her life. That, I mean, it's just when I am sitting, you know, sobbing into a pillow in the back during and Gabby's like singing her big song, you know, down the front, you know, I'm having act 4 back there underneath the orchestra. But, you know, but it's because I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, which, you know, whoever has ever played any of these parts is going to bring something different to it. And the job of the creative team was just to make sure that each of us, you know, hit the points that they needed us to hit, but how we hit them was going to, inevitably be our own unique way to do it. And it still works. And I'm so glad that they trusted their piece and trusted us to be able to find all of those things, because that's why people want to keep going and seeing theater again and again and again with different people doing it, because you're just like what you said, Lee, you're going to have a whole new understanding of a song, hearing it the first time because of the way it's done. And that is what I love.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
All right. So it was a joy to see Steven, Ciara, and Noah in Memphis. What is your favorite backstage memory? That's where the real show happens. The real show happens backstage.
Is it rated R?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of first year, what I remember is, sounds ridiculous, just an abundance of carrot cake. There was always somebody's birthday, and there was I never even liked carrot cake, and there was so much of it. It was always extra, and I just remember eating a ton of it.
And blue bagels.
Blue bagels. All the Stacy goodies. Those are all very good backstage things. In terms of like, I mean, there were lots of mishaps and things like that. I mean, you know, like they, I'm trying to think of like good ones, but I can remember in terms of onstage, like kinds of things, like I can remember like Aaron Lazar, your friend Lee, had this thing where he like insisted he had to throw the baseball or the rag into the box every single night to break in a glove. And sometimes he'd make it, sometimes he'd miss it. And it was this whole like, oh man, like it was truly the one fresh moment in the show, no matter what. And that was always fun to watch. Yeah. I don't know where the rest of them went, but
sometimes we have technical difficulties. They'll be here. They are. Back.
They always come back.
Steven and Ciara, do you have a favorite backstage memory?
Oh goodness, I'm never backstage.
No, that's true. You guys, Jordan and you don't leave the stage. Michelle.
I have a funny onstage memory.
Okay.
During You'll Be Found, Alessandro, who now plays our Jared on tour, stepped on my toe, and I wear these little heels in You'll Be Found. And like as I'm coming around the panel, he steps on it, and my shoe goes rolling onto the stage. And it's like right when Zoe has her like solo on the bed. And I'm like, oh my down and like crawl over together. And for the rest of the number, we are laughing. Like You Will Be Found does not come out. Like I can't get over it, and it's a disaster.
There was a real thing, like later on in our tour experience of like, I very specifically had to not look at Ciara or Alyse because there were shenanigans.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
How about you,
Thank
Jordan?
That's
Any backstage stories you want to share?
Yeah. After just before Requiem, I remember every night I would go upstairs and put on my next shirt and then go back on stage, and that was great.
Sweat right through them. I'm sure.
No, we definitely. I'm a firm believer in wherever you hang your hat, like you need to make it home, right? And when I'm in the city and I'm working on Broadway, I have the beautiful pleasure of figuring out how to make my dressing room feel as good and cozy and warm as it can be. And I had a lot of fun doing that, but kind of set up like a little backstage, little bar area. And before every show, after I would finish warming up, I would take my speaker, like some late 80s Nickelodeon TV show, and run up to the ensemble dressing room, understudy cover room, and we would jam to anything from Shinedown to Lauryn Hill to Justin Bieber to Aretha Franklin. Like every show was bumping, I promise you, 10 minutes before curtain. And I missed that. I missed that a lot, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Check-ins with Gabby too. That's probably those were we had two every show, 2 check-ins, and those were really great. I missed that.
Oh, that's sweet. Do we have any more questions? Jonathan,
sure we
yes. If you could play any other character in the show, who would you want to play?
Heidi.
Cynthia.
Cynthia. Okay.
Sorry.
Team Cynthia all the way. She's the backbone of the story. Christiane makes me sob every night. I'm just saying. I want to play Christiane as Cynthia.
The show's really about Heidi and Cynthia. I know Evan Hansen's in the title, but it is very much about Heidi and Cynthia. And we have 2 of the best to ever do it right here on this call. It's yeah.
I want to play Connor with a violent passion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like
Connor,
I'm the
yes.
cute little girl with the little tiny backpack, and I just want to be like just
Jared.
so weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jared.
Yeah, my first year I was understudying Jared, and they were the most fun rehearsals because like the understudy rehearsals are just like all the creatives in the house, and my goal was always just like make them laugh.
Yeah.
Make the stage managers laugh, make the directors laugh. I mean, play the scene, whatever. But those were always fun days.
Wow. Before we go, and this hour flies by, we have to take a moment, Robert, and shine a huge light on the composers of this incredible piece, Pasek and Paul. It's just
Absolutely.
It is a work of
score.
art, a stunning score.
What can you guys say about it musically and how it spoke to you through the process, Jordan? Their writing. What can you say about them and their writing? I mean,
that art isn't perfect, but theirs might be.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Pretty damn close.
You know, I mean, I think if you think of like their lineage as partners and the type of material that they've put out, how many corners they've been able to touch, how much of a blanket they've been able to cover over the industry and over audience consumption.
How about you, Steven?
I think they're perfect. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, living inside it for a couple years, like there isn't a single moment, there isn't a word or a chord in it that doesn't feel true. Every part of it feels appropriate, and it's like the music itself feels like another character. That sounds so cheesy to say, but like it feels like part of the environment. Like the music did as much for like dropping me into the world of what was going on in Evan's heart as anything else in the show. And It's just really special. But everything that is there strikes a chord in you when it comes out of your mouth or when you hear it come out of one of the other artists. It's very special.
Wow. Anybody else want to chime in?
The orchestrations and what they were saying, every note is true, but nothing is wasted. Every single note, every single phrase, whether it's as silly as it sounds, whether it's an eighth note pickup or a 16th note pickup, there is a dramatic reason for the difference between the two, and it's purposeful and it's specific, and it all of those little things that tug on your heartstrings a little bit more, or the humor or whatever. They really know how to write for the theater. I mean, they've written for everything, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I would also shout out Stephen Levinson just on the book front, just because the way that everything comes together. I mean, the book is so good, so driven. Every single scene is moving towards something. Nothing is wasted. It is just, and the fact that partnership was able to come together and make this is truly astounding.
Yeah, and to have a musical that's ultimately really uplifting and really hopeful, shine a light on what I think is an epidemic in this world of bullying, is incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. It's a beautiful piece of work, and you all bring incredible light to it and humanity to it. And we as audience are so moved by your work. And I know as artists, you do this because it's your oxygen and it's what drives you and whatnot. But to know as a byproduct that you're also really healing people's hearts and minds, I don't know whether that is something you think about every day because you're working, but it's true. And I commend you all for it because you make a difference.
Thank you.
I mean, I think that we all heal every night as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for that.
This has been such a joy. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us.
Thank you so much for being shedding some light here for us and giving hope to a lot of theater fans around the country, and giving them some art that they've missed so much. So thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You'll be back soon.
And we will be there. We will be there. Thank you guys so much.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
My heart is full.
Absolutely.
My heart is full.
What
I love
beautiful
the show.
artists.
I love this cast. Fantastic. Just fantastic.
I hope that you guys watching had a wonderful time. As much fun as we sure did.
We had a great time.
So much for joining us.
We have some really exciting things coming up. I just want to let you know on April 7th, we have our Jersey Boys reunion. It's a little different. The producers put together a talk back of 15 years of Jersey Boys worldwide with the writers and Rick Ellis and Marshall Brickman, and also the Tony Award-winning director, Des McAnuff. So that's going to be exciting. On the 17th, it's a Saturday. It's a matinee for us here in the States. We have a special edition with the West End cast and creatives of the hit musical Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which is going to come here for a U.S. tour that I believe is going to culminate on Broadway. So we're excited about that. In May, go on.
You may have heard of Bianca Rio because I know there's some Drag Race fans.
That's right.
She will be here.
Bianca Del Rio from RuPaul's Drag Race was in Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and she's going to be here on the 17th. In May, we've just confirmed the Lincoln Center production of My Fair Lady on the 12th of May, and on the 23rd, or 26th, I don't know. Anyway, we've got Come From Away. We're working on dates for Waitress and Chicago and Phantom. So check out our website, BroadwayCastReunion.com. We'll have everything listed there. So
yes, we have a lot more to come. So if you enjoyed yourself, come on back. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Thank you. Stay safe.
Be well.
Wear your mask. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time. Good night.
All we see